Well, welcome guys to Ufirst monthly wrap here, where we will cover all things real estate, go through some key statistics for the local suburb and suburbs in the LGA area that are very important to many of you people out there, but also talk about what we have done and achieved here at Ufirst. And here with me today on the couch will be John Merchant, the #1 sales agent for the month of June 2017. Welcome, John. So John, how did you get into real estate?
I've been pretty blessed. I've come from a family of, we're all in real estate, so it was sort of, I guess, pretty easy to fall into. But I had my first job when I was 16 doing Saturday reception for you.
And how did you like that job?
Oh, look, it was a cash job. I think it was $50 for the day, which was good for a 16-year-old, and I just answered the phones and made the brochures for the guys. So.
Fantastic. And what then? Where did you go from there? So you finished VCE.
So I finished VCE. Didn't really know what I was doing. So I fell in to Ufirst, doing assistant admin role sort of type work. Still not really know what I was doing, and I guess unfortunately or fortunately, our receptionist at the time decided to leave, which I guess presented an opportunity. Originally I was just meant to fill in for 2 weeks until they get a better looking person to go in behind the desk, and after the 2 weeks the directors sat me down and they offered me the position. So that's really when the ball started to get rolling.
Fantastic. So just to put it in perspective, when did you went from working Saturdays, you finished your VCE for 12 months there. Was it 12 months that you were in the sales coordinating role?
Yeah, it was just a bit over 12 months.
And then what was the change for you from admin to sales?
I think it was more, I got to a point where I started to take my work seriously, and I felt like I pretty much almost got the whole role down pat, and it got to a stage where, not that I was bored with the job, but I just wanted to move forward as a person, so I needed a new challenge. So I had a trip planned out, which I was able to achieve, and I said to management before I leave, I'd like to get into sales when I come back.
Great. And out of curiosity, you took, was it 3 or 4 weeks off over that time?
I took 6 weeks.
6 weeks, okay. So you travelled overseas, you've come back, and you're probably broke, I'm assuming. You spent all your money overseas?
I spent most of it. I was smart though, to being overseas by myself. I was smart to keep a little bit of money just to make sure you never know what happens. And I came back home and sort of looking after myself for that period. So I had to come back with some money. But yeah, most of it was gone.
Awesome. So from there, you've jumped straight into sales. Is that correct?
It was more of a half thing. So I still oversaw the new sales coordinator while being a lead generator.
So are you saying half? Was it a dual role where you did sales administration slash
sales administration slash PA lead generator?
Okay, yeah.
Pretty much, but for myself.
Yep.
Really, it was a very different role, and it got to not that I didn't learn anything doing both at the same time. It was definitely, I found I couldn't do both. It was more the sales end that I couldn't do it, because you need 100% focus. So I made the decision pretty quickly, spoke to management, look, if this is going to work, I need to put 100% effort into the sales side and really let the sales administration go.
Fantastic. And when was that defining moment where you went all in on the sales front? When did that
that was pretty much at the end or the start of 2016. So end of 2015, start of 2016. I was working closely with an agent, and it was like a light bulb thing, like, this is what I need to do. I need to put in the hours, and I just gave myself really to the role.
So you were sort of part-time at that particular time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
so you're working as an assistant role? Was that fair to say?
Lead generator, assistant role. Doing the whole process start to finish, so going to all the meetings with each client and whatnot, getting the offers, signing off. So yeah, that was the role.
Tell me, your lead generating, when you were as a lead generator, what were the hours you were putting in? Because for the consumers or for the average punter out there that may work their 40 hours, well, how many hours would you say you spend on your lead generating?
Well, half the time. Half the time. I mean, it's definitely not a job that you can do 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And especially, I didn't have a database. I didn't have clientele. No one knew who I was. So I actually stayed back and realised 9 to 5 is not going to cut it. I actually stayed back till 7:30, 8 o'clock, just prospecting.
And that was each night?
That was each night.
Yeah. Look, I can attest to that, and I can clarify that. I saw that change in you vividly, middle of last year, where you were pushing into the big hours. So due credit to where credit's due. When you work, what do they say? The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of reminiscent there. Now, John, what has been some of the challenges that you've incurred in terms of getting into sales? Getting into sales full time. Was that July 1?
I think full time, where I was standalone, would have been at the end of the financial year last year.
Yeah.
So that was when I started on my own.
Yeah. And what are the challenges that you've had whilst being a standalone agent and fairly young?
I think that was the first one. It was definitely the age.
Yeah.
I think I've grown up a little bit, but especially last year and the year before, I'd walk into appraisals and the first thing some people would say was, geez, you don't even look like you finished school. Or when I'd be asking people for their photo ID at the opens, they'd be saying, well, how about you show us your ID, because you don't look old enough to be running an open. So that definitely was, that was probably that was a challenge. And the second one would be, I guess, you get used to, you make a sale and you think it's awesome. And you think, wow, it's easy to rest on your laurels and get complacent. So I think consistency was definitely also was a big challenge early on.
Yeah. And how did you overcome those challenges? So being young, how did you overcome that?
I was fortunate enough that I had some pretty experienced agents, you included one, that would come out with me whenever I asked. If I had a really hot one that I thought the difference between me getting it on myself, it might be worthwhile to get yourself or somebody else to assist me and help me, more like a backup. So it was sort of like that safeguard, and that was really good. And what I learned about that, I actually saw it firsthand. So it means when I do go out on my own, I've seen it a lot of times now that I do know how to handle myself.
Fantastic.
And in terms of, I guess, the complacency sort of thing, it's just a mindset.
Yeah.
That's just a mindset. It's more celebrating if you've had a good prospecting week, making the calls, or in regards to celebrating all the sales, because it's very easy, as everyone knows, in real estate to go up and then to come down. So it's more keeping a level head. Enjoy your wins, but your wins are never as good as it feels, and the losses are never as bad as they feel. So it's more keeping a level head.
Fantastic. Now, in terms of the sales, in particular here in the Freyston LGA or local government area, the catchment here, what is your preferred method of sale as a selling agent for those sellers out there?
Definitely auction.
Okay.
Auction.
Can I ask why? Because for a young guy like yourself, not many people push auctions, even experienced agents in town. Why would you choose auctions?
I choose auctions because, as I said, I've grown up in the family of real estate agents, so I guess I've been able to see each method done. But I choose auctions from personal note is because you've got more than one way to sell a property. And it's a clean contract. It puts a timeline on the campaign, and it creates urgency. So a buyer's not going to look at the property and then, I'll go see it in another week or another 2 weeks. They know it's going to auction, and with the market being how it is, people are sometimes throwing in more than what they've got before it even gets there. So you can sell it before, during or after with no conditions. That really puts us to the mercy of the buyers and whatever finances they've got.
Great. So interesting statistic in our office, which we've been able to gauge out of our last 20 auctions that we've conducted on the day of the auction. We've had 14, so 70% of buyers have come through on that specific day and then bidded on the day and were successful. So give us an example, I suppose, with your 2 properties over the weekend that you took to auction.
Well, they both actually, the first one in Frankston, he had inquired about the property, but he'd never seen it.
Is that 14 Baringa?
That was 14 Baringa Street in Frankston. So that sold for 80k of the reserve, 570, and that buyer is from the city. He was looking for an investment. He inquired about it during the week, was just more researching, he woke up from speaking to him an hour before the auction was supposed to start, drove on down and then just started bidding. So that's another thing with auctions, you just never know. And the next property, 42 Mitchell Street, that went 200k over the reserve, that sold for $1,050,000 in Seaford.
Can I ask you, John, how was the owners when you greeted them after the auction?
Well, Big Scott, he's 6'4", and he's a very big guy. He was in tears, and the whole family were in tears, and he gave me a big bear hug. So I think I've got a few back issues now because he's a very strong guy. And they were wanting to go. An interesting story why they were selling. They want to move to Fiji and get away for a while. So their words were, it was like winning the lottery.
But when you've gone 200,000 over any reserve, that's life changing. That's 200,000 net. So to try and save that, or if you're working and you've got to pay, of course, as we do here in Australia, we've got taxes. That's the equivalent of maybe 400,000. Someone's got to work and earn 400,000. So that is life changing. So John, what do you think separated you from the others in terms of that auction process? Because I know there was other agents out there that said that they,
Well, I think it's, especially with an auction process, it's very easy for someone to say, yeah, let's do an auction, let's run a campaign, we'll outsource an auctioneer, and just see what happens. An auction, it's sort of a motto in the office, it's not an event, it's a process. So whether we sell it before, after, or during. Now, what happened with that one was the interest wasn't there, and we brought Scotty in, had the owner. We spoke to him and said, to get the interest where it needs to be, we need a price reduction, and that's a crucial conversation. Telling an owner we've got to drop the price by X amount, and they give you that look like we're paying.
And they were sort of hesitant because they, in that time frame, they were always above the market. Would that be fair to say?
They were definitely above where the market was coming in at. So that was a hard conversation. But when you've got an experienced auctioneer with you, also who knows the area, lives in the area, the conversation it's not about telling them what's wrong. It's about, okay, this is where you're at. How do we get there? Because it's not working right now. So having those conversations, if we didn't have that price reduction, there would have been a very different result. And then it comes to the day. You can do all that work, and as you know, you've called more auctions than anybody around here. Sometimes it starts raining, sometimes buyers don't show up. You just don't know. So it's also about how the team prepares. We're fortunate enough to have the best auctioneer in the LGA. But also with our team, we don't just stand around like statues, which you do see out there a lot. They're like wooden posts. They're suited up, they all look good, but they don't actually move around. Our team, we're hustlers. We're really working for our owners. And that can be the difference, even with a good auctioneer, of getting an extra 15, 20. And that's just from the guys in the crowd. So that's the difference with us between other agents.
Certainly, I think from my experience in calling auctions, there's nothing better than having some great guys in the team. And it was interesting, the bit of banter between both myself and you when we're calling the auction. Just with regards to the bidding, and making sure that they didn't lose that property.
Well, I guess it comes to it is. I mean, it's people's money, so you do have to have some level of professionalism. But everyone on the auction day, whether you're the buyer, you're the owner, even sometimes the agents. I know from being the listing agent, there is a bit of nerves. But you've also got to. It's our job to relax everyone, and that bit of banter does relax people. We've got a coffee van out beforehand, so especially on these cold days, it gets people's hands warmed up so they can put them up nice and high. It's just about relaxing everybody and making people feel comfortable, and that's when the good results
occur. There's no doubt, they say, when you're in your comfort zone, stepping out of the comfort zone is when great things happen, and we see that with auctions where people may not be comfortable with the process or the auction, but they still will turn up because they want the property and they will pay market value, and in some situations have paid in excess of 5, 10, even 15%, as we saw over the weekend, above the owner's expectations. So certainly, John, that's great. You've touched on a few things. My next question to you was, what do you love about real estate?
I love about there's a few things. It's a flexible job.
Yep.
With no limit on how much you can earn. So it's not something where you're told this is how much you're worth.
Yep.
It's something is you determine that. You determine your own self-worth. And I mean, the third and probably the most important is that look on your client's face when you help them achieve their goals. And I think Mitchell Street, that was, wish that was on camera to show people that you can't buy that. And you actually get caught up in the emotion yourself, because even though they tell you, you never know how important this is until you see it firsthand, and that's why I do it, to help people achieve their goals.
Fantastic, John. And what do you do outside of work when you have a bit of downtime? I know you work long hours.
Doesn't happen often, but what I like to do is nothing better than when I get home and I plonk myself on the couch. I put Netflix on. Big on my TV shows, Suits, Game of Thrones, you name it, and it's spending time with friends, and they're my good pastimes.
Fantastic job. Now, what tips could you give any budding real estate agent who's looking to get into the market as an agent? What tips would you give them?
First would be hard work. That would definitely be that. Hard work trumps everything. Don't expect it to be a 9 to 5 job, because you will last a couple of months and you'll be out very quick. 2, invest in yourself. Invest in training. Train all the time. Become perfect. It's very hard to get that, and you probably will never get there, but aspire for that. Now, 3rd would be definitely be careful where you go, and you want to embrace the team that you go into. You don't want to just go into an office and be running your own show. Really embrace the team, because you'll find when you've got a team around you, the sky's the limit, and people really see that. And especially, being an auction company, without a good team, without a good relationship with your team, it just doesn't work.
Fantastic, John. Well, look, we look forward to, hopefully, I'm sure we'll see you on the couch for many more moves, but well done on getting your first official #1 status at Ufirst Real Estate. So well done, John.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, John. Well done. Just some key statistics for this month thus far. We've had 7 auctions for the month of June for 100% clearance rate. A few did sell prior to auction. Had some fantastic results. We sold 116 over Port Road in Frankston South for $1,195,000 straight after the auction. Passed in on a live bid of 1.16. A couple of key highlights was the one in Seaford at 42 Mitchell Street, which went 200,000 over the reserve. The reserve price was $850, which was locked in, and it sold for in excess of $1 million for a street record in that particular pocket. 14 Baringa Street, a little property there, 3-bed, 1-bath, double car, set on only 537 square metres, corner block. One of John's listings sold for $80,000 over the reserve, which was $570 the end result. So amazing numbers. Want to just run through their clearance rates, or I should say the median price. Being that we're coming up to the end of financial year, what's really striking, a question that I get asked a lot, and a lot of the guys in the office, is, geez, there's not a lot of properties on the market. Now, just to give you an insight, normally, say for example, Frankston, there's over, normally last year, for the year of 2016, over 700 sales were recorded. So generally speaking, this time of year, we're halfway through the year pretty much, you would expect to have around 350 odd sales on the board already as a whole suburb. Just for the year already for 2017, we have only done 154 sales. So there's a huge decrease in supply, which means there is a shortage out there. Frankston South is very similar, 379 properties recorded for the year of 2016, only 59 to date. Coming into July, Mount Eliza had over 397 sales for the year of 2016, and they've only recorded 53 properties this side of for the first 2 quarters. Langwarrin, 2016, had 385 sales for that suburb, and they've only had 88 for this 2 quarters. And Seaford, down dramatically, 289 properties sold for the year of 2016, only 52. So in some situations you can see that there's been a massive drop. One of the key reasons for that is a lot of owners are holding off on putting their properties on after July 1 because there is new legislations for the first home buyers. We've seen buyers or first home buyers starting to come through our auction campaigns penciled for July because they are exempt up to $600,000 with the new rules. However, if they were to buy it before July 1, over 600, they've got to pay the full stamp duty. So there's no concession or relief there, whereas after July 1, there will be. So there's a real shortage of stock at the moment. We expect some big numbers to come on, so we're looking forward to that. Just the median house prices in Frankston is $545,000. That's ranked number 1 for growth this year thus far at 15.2% increase. We've had Langwarrin go up to $580,000 as a medium house price, gone up by 12.62%. Seaford has gone up massively, $647,500, an increase of 11.64%, which in over just a year and a half, it's gone up over 35%, which is astronomical. We've got Frankston South that's gone up, medium house price to get into Frankston South now is $770,000, gone up 11.59%, and Mount Eliza has hit that $1 million median suburb along with the likes of the Bomb Beach and Chelsea suburbs. So clearly this area here in this catchment of Frankston LGA, we're starting to see other suburbs surrounding us go over that $1 million mark. Mount Eliza is on track at the moment at 8.42% increase. So certainly that's rounding off the numbers here at present. So look, if you are thinking of buying or selling in the area, by all means feel free to yell out. We do have a great leasing division here as well. If you're wanting an appraisal done on your property or investment property, let us know, because there will be a lot of equity, as you can see with the amount of figures that we're seeing at the moment. It could be a good time to be finding out what your property is worth. On behalf of Ufirst, we thank you for your time. Enjoy our segment. We will do this every month, and I'm sure we'll see either John or one of the other team members on the couch. Look forward to our next episode. Thank you.